What is the biggest change you've recognized in yourself that you've had to make in a relationship? Did I just take your question?
No, because my point, and to add on to that point, and I'm going to come on to it, do you recognize the change? Because,
well, if we first discuss it,
yes,
and then we can underpin it with the follow-up question. Buddy.
What's the biggest change I've made?
Yeah.
Yes. That you've done in your relationship, for a relationship.
I wouldn't say I've
One of my brethrens moved out. That was a big change.
Moved out of what?
Of his house.
Oh, okay, I'm lost.
So am I.
Previously.
Moved out of his yard.
He moved out of his house to move into the partner's
into the chick's house.
Okay, got you.
That's a massive change.
That is a life change, isn't it?
I've done that change.
Because what you're doing, you're basically sacrificing what you have in order to build somewhere else. And you're not building, and you
disagree with that.
And I look at it, the way I look at it, you're not building into a new place. You're building into the partner's place.
Her place.
No,
So
you're fitting into that place.
Yes.
Ooh. I mean, it depends on what circumstances you have talked about.
Is it your house?
Is it yours?
No, it's not.
You know,
But
When the argument and the hammer goes down, who's packing up and leaving?
no. I'm not disagreeing with those points.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm saying to you, when you're saying you're building into her foundation type of thing, you're building something together. So whatever circumstances you've gone in there, you'd have had that conversation, whether you're going to buy something together eventually, what your situation, what might be together. So you're going to work things out together. So when you're saying it, like this is all change for something for her or beneficial to her, it might be beneficial for your relationship. So I'm a bit lost on why it's kind of come out the way it's come out.
I fully understand what Citrus is saying. The way I'm looking at it, if you're moving into a new place together, you're building together. But if you're moving into your partner's home, that is their home of how they have their things set and they do things their own way. Yes, they can adjust to you coming in, but you have to conform to how they live.
What if it has a purpose?
What do you mean explain purpose?
I'll explain it, an easy one for me to do. All right, you've moved out of your place, you've rented out your place to earn the money to make sure that you two can now use that money to buy a property. So this situation is, instead of me living there and you living there, and us both, me paying for here and you paying for there, we've turned and said to ourselves, well, we'll live here or there, whichever way it works out, whichever one works out beneficial for the both of you guys. You move into one property, you rent out the other property, use the money from that property to now invest into your new property, which will now be our property.
Yes.
Is this now not a
But
plan?
in the meantime, while you're in said property, being if it's their property, as Citrus said, when there's the argument and they're pissed off and it's you're sleeping on the sofa or come out my house or give me back my key or what happens then?
You go and you don't turn your back. You don't turn your back.
If someone uses that as a weapon against you,
yes,
you
right.
bounce. That's it.
I agree. And so the thing is, to your example of you're renting out your property, it's not like you're the man that hasn't got nothing to go to.
Right.
So when you've got that backup of, right, I can go back to my place. I've got to kick out the tenant and all that, but I've got my place. It's a bit different to someone who
comes from their mum's yard or something.
Let's be candid. Some men have nothing and moving with females all the other way around.
It's guys that are, or females people that are on the housing list.
Very PC.
Not even that.
You're on the housing, one second, you're on the housing list, and if you now move into their place, you sacrifice the 4.5 year, 5 year, 7 year waiting list that you've been on the housing list. So now you've got an address. You're no longer, open and close brackets, homeless. You've got somewhere to live. Now, if she then kicks you out from that, you're now going back to the bottom of the housing list. Do you know what I mean? And this happened to one of our friends. So this is a reality, and I'm just like, so with that, the level of vulnerability is much bigger. However, in that same said friend, the amount of change was greater.
But then,
because he couldn't sacrifice pissing her off.
So you're saying you can change yourself, but not to the point that you become vulnerable in your situation.
If you expose too much of yourself, you then lose who you are.
Dipped, yeah.
So, Langstar MT1 says, these times you're being told your wardrobe is the box you bought your belongings in.
Jeez.
Matty.
And to the point of what Citrus was saying, a lot of people, they rent. So you could find yourself in a situation where when you do move with a partner, like you were saying, buddy, They've given up their rented accommodation. They can't say, "Oh, I'm going to rent it out." They have to give up their accommodation to make that life change.
But then you do that change, what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Based upon how strong you think your relationship is.
Yes.
But you think her relationship is strong as it is, she might have different intentions.
Definitely.
So how much you've changed and you think you've done this change for the betterment of us, she's like, I'm making decisions for the betterment of me.
Yeah.